You are born in the dim back room of a wooden house that smells of wet ash and boiled rice. Outside, Edo hums with the soft grind of wooden sandals on packed earth, but inside your world is quiet, hushed, careful. Your mother presses a cloth to your mouth before your first cry becomes too loud. Noise is dangerous. Noise attracts attention. Attention costs money. You arrive in the fourth year of Kanei, when the city grows fat on peace and hierarchy sharpens like a blade. Your father kneels when the landlord passes. Your mother lowers her eyes when the tax collector coughs. Before you learn to walk, you learn that the world has a spine made of rank and obedience, and you are born near the bottom. The first thing you understand about love is silence. Your father sells paper umbrellas. He smells of oil and damp bamboo. He works until his fingertips split and bleed, then wraps them in cloth so the customers will not see weakness. You watch him bow to men younger than himself simply because they wear swords. Two swords. Always two. The long and the short. The long for enemies. The short for shame. Your mother whispers the rule when you are old enough to understand words. If a samurai kills your father, we apologize. She says it as if she is reciting the seasons. You do not understand death yet, but you understand the way her voice empties when she says the word samurai. Winter arrives with a smell like iron and frost. The river stiffens. Your breath becomes visible, proof that your body is slowly burning itself to stay alive. You are 5 when a man collapses outside your house. His hair is tied in the warrior's knot. His robe is fine silk, stained darker at the chest. Your father kneels beside him immediately. No hosetashchen. No fear of blood. Only fear of status. The man lives. He drinks the broth your mother makes. He sleeps on your bedding. When he wakes, he never thanks you. Gratitude travels downward, never up, but he notices you. You are small, he says, as if observing a tool. You bow so deeply your forehead touches the floor. You are 6 when your parents begin whispering at night. You pretend to sleep, but their voices slide under the door like cold air. A chance, your father says. A risk, your mother replies. A samurai household. She will never starve. Your mother cries quietly. She thinks you cannot hear. You learn that crying is another form of silence. You are 7 when the arrangement is made. No ceremony. No celebration. Just a folded contract and a bow that lasts too long. You're told you'll marry one day. Not now. Later. When you're useful. The samurai's house smells different from yours. Cleaner. Colder. Like polished wood and old steel. The floors gleam. The walls whisper when you slide the paper doors open. You are given new clothes that itch against your skin because they are not yours. Nothing here is yours. You learn the rules before you learn the faces. Never speak first. Never step ahead. Never ask why. Never forget your place in a room. Never forget your place in the world. You practice kneeling until your legs tremble and your vision swims. The older women watch with eyes like winter ponds, still, reflective, impossible to read. You learn to pour tea without sound, to walk without breath, to exist without weight. At night, you dream of your parents' house, the smell of ash, the uneven floor, the way your father hummed when he thought no one could hear. You are 8 when you see your future husband clearly for the first time. He is 17, already tall, already carrying 2 swords, already carrying the quiet arrogance of someone who has never feared hunger. He does not look at you when he speaks. She is small, he says. The room laughs softly, politely. Approval disguised as humor. You bow until your neck aches. Your future becomes a shape in the corner of the room, heavy and silent. Years pass like falling snow. Quiet, relentless, inevitable. You are taught calligraphy so your letters may reflect honor. You are taught sewing so your hands remain useful. You are taught obedience so your existence remains tolerable. You are never taught happiness. It is not required. You are 9 when you learn the price of mistakes. A maid drops a bowl. The crack sounds like thunder. Everyone freezes. The samurai matriarch steps forward slowly, her smile thin as thread. The maid apologizes until her voice breaks. The punishment is quiet, efficient, invisible. The maid is gone the next morning. No explanation. No forward. You learn the rule. Disappearance is cheaper than forgiveness. You are 10 when your mother visits. She bows to you, lower than she ever bowed at home. Her hands tremble when they touch yours. Her palms are rougher than you remember. You are lucky, she whispers. Her eyes beg you to believe it. You nod, because love is silence. When she leaves, you realize you have nowhere to return to. The bridge has already burned. You just never saw the flames. You were 11 when you first hold a blade. Not a sword. Never a sword. A kitchen knife. Small. Practical. Harmless. You're taught how to cut vegetables thin enough that light passes through them. Precision is virtue. Precision is obedience made visible. You're praised for the first time. The warmth lasts only seconds, but you hoard it like winter fire. You are 12 when the household celebrates your coming marriage. The room smells of incense and sake. The laughter is loud enough to hide the truth. You're not a bride. You are an investment maturing. The samurai you will marry drinks deeply. His cheeks flush. His voice grows louder. He speaks of loyalty and honor and the beauty of discipline. You wonder if discipline always feels like a cage. You never ask. The night ends with a toast. To stability, the word tastes like ash. You lie awake listening to the wind slip through the wooden beams. You imagine it carrying your childhood away in thin, invisible pieces. You are 13 when a household seamstress measures you for a wedding kimono. The silk is heavy, crimson, embroidered with cranes that will never fly. She pulls the tape tight around your ribs. Breathe smaller, she says. You obey. The world narrows to the space inside your chest. You learn that breathing is negotiable. You are 14 when your father dies. A fever. Quick. Cheap. Unremarkable. You're told 2 weeks later. There is no time to visit the grave. Mourning disrupts schedules. Schedules support order. Order supports peace. Peace supports the samurai. You bow in the empty corridor. Alone. Quiet. Efficient. You do not cry. Tears are loud. The wedding date is set for spring. The plum blossoms bloom early that year. Their scent fills the courtyard with sweetness, so thick it almost feels cruel. Beauty arrives without permission, without apology. You stand beneath the blossoms and realize your life has already been decided by hands you will never see. Petals fall into your hair like silent snow. You do not brush them away. You do not move. You simply wait for the ceremony that will transform your silence into duty, and your duty into permanence. Spring arrives with the smell of wet earth and crushed petals. The morning of your wedding begins before the sun. You are woken by hands, not voices. Everything important in this house is done without words. Your hair is pulled, oiled, folded, pinned. Each tug feels like a small lesson in endurance. Your scalp burns. No one asks if it hurts. Pain is assumed. Pain is expected. Pain is irrelevant. Layers of silk slide over your shoulders, heavy and whispering. Crimson, white, gold thread stitched into patterns of cranes and waves and distant mountains you will never see. The weight presses down until your spine stiffens automatically, learning the posture of permanence. You kneel while women paint your lips the color of crushed berries. Your face becomes pale as rice flour, a mask shaped like serenity, a mask shaped like obedience. You are told that beauty is a form of discipline. Outside, drums begin, slow, measured, like footsteps approaching a door that has never been locked. The ceremony is short, efficient, clean. You bow. He bows. The priest chants words older than memory. You sip sake. He sips sake. 3 times. Always 3. Ritual loves repetition because repetition feels like control. You become a wife between one breath and the next. Your husband does not look at you when it ends. Guests laugh. Cups clink. Silk rustles like leaves in dry wind. The room smells of alcohol and incense and quiet expectation. You kneel beside him for hours. Your legs go numb, then vanish entirely. You learn how to exist without feeling the lower half of your body. Night falls. The laughter fades. The house empties like a tide pulling back from shore. You are led to the bridal room. The futon waits in the center like a command. He enters later. The swords are the last thing you notice before the door closes. Always the swords first. Always the sword's last. He studies you the way a merchant studies goods. Calm, detached, evaluating. You will give me sons, he says. Not cruel, not kind, simply factual. You bow. Your marriage begins with duty, not touch. Expectation, not intimacy. The air smells faintly of steel and cold paper walls. You learn the rhythm quickly. Wake before him. Sleep after him. Speak only when necessary. Smile only when appropriate. Never contradict. Never question. Never forget the hierarchy inside your own home. Your husband's mother becomes your son. Everything revolves around her warmth or her absence. She teaches you how to greet guests, how to kneel without shifting, how to pour tea with wrists that never tremble. Your body reflects the honor of this house, she says. Your body becomes a symbol before it ever becomes your own. You are 15 when you learn the architecture of a samurai household. There is the front, the polished face shown to visitors, the careful garden, the clipped pine trees shaped by invisible violence, beauty created by constant cutting. Then there's the interior, corridors that swallow sound, rooms that trap whispers, servants who glide like ghosts, leaving no trace but the faint smell of soap and smoke. And above all of it, invisible but everywhere, is reputation. Reputation breathes through the walls. It sits at every meal. It sleeps beside you at night. Reputation must never be embarrassed. You are 16 when you learn how often men leave. Your husband rides out at dawn with other warriors. Their armor clinks softly like distant wind chimes. They speak of duty and loyalty and the shogun's peace. Their voices swell with pride when they say the word peace. Peace means no wars to fight, no enemies to kill, no battles to win. Peace means boredom sharpened into ritual. Peace means men searching for purpose inside the echo of past violence. He returns smelling of sweat and horse and sake, sometimes of perfume that is not yours. You never ask where it comes from. You learn that questions are heavier than silence. You bow when he enters. You bow when he leaves. Your spine learns the language of angles. At night, the house creaks softly like an old ship. You lie awake listening to the wind drag across the roof. Your husband sleeps quickly, deeply, like someone who has never feared tomorrow. You begin to understand the shape of your cage. It is not bars. It is expectation. You're 17 when the household begins to whisper about heirs. Meals grow quieter. Glances linger longer on your stomach. The older women press herbal teas into your hands. Bitter, earthy, smelling of roots and damp soil. You must be strong, they say. Strength tastes like medicine. Months pass. Seasons rotate. Plum blossoms return and vanish again. Your body becomes a calendar everyone watches. You learn the silence of disappointment. It settles into the room like dust. Your husband's visits to your room become less frequent, shorter, efficient, purposeful. You begin to measure time by the distance between his footsteps. You're 18 when you finally feel the change. A flutter beneath your ribs. Small, fragile, like a bird trapped inside paper walls. The household exhales as one. Relief moves through corridors like warm air. Smiles bloom. Gifts appear. You are praised for the first time in years. Not for your thoughts. Not for your effort. For your function. Pregnancy becomes your new training. Walk slowly. Sit carefully. Eat quietly. Sleep upright. Breathe gently. Your body is no longer a private space. It becomes a shared investment, monitored and guarded and endlessly discussed. You learn to sleep surrounded by watchful eyes. The midwife smells of herbs and smoke. Her hands are rough and certain. She touches your stomach as if reading a map. Pray for a son, she says. You already know. Winter returns the night labor begins. Snow hushes the city until Edo feels like a dream buried under white silence. Pain arrives slowly, then all at once. It blooms inside you like fire spreading through dry wood. Hours stretch into something shapeless. The room spins. The paper walls pulse with shadow and lamplight. Women whisper encouragement that sounds like distant wind. You grip the futon until your fingers ache. Your throat burns from swallowed screams. Noise is dangerous. Noise attracts attention. You remember the rule even now. When the child finally arrives, the silence breaks. A cry. Sharp, bright, alive. The midwife lifts the child, studies the tiny face, and smiles. A daughter. The room freezes. The silence returns heavier than before. Your husband does not visit that night. You hold your child against your chest. She smells like milk and warmth and fragile hope. Her fingers curl around yours with impossible strength. You whisper to her in the dark. I am sorry. The words feel older than you are. Morning arrives cold and gray. Snow still falls. The world outside remains silent and indifferent. Inside the house, life continues with careful politeness. Congratulations are offered. Soft, measured, slightly hollow. You learn that joy has hierarchy too. Your daughter sleeps beside you. Tiny breaths fog the winter air. You watch her chest rise and fall and feel something bloom that frightens you more than pain ever did. Love. Love is dangerous. Love makes silence harder. You press your lips to her hair and inhale the scent of new life, already aware of how easily the world devours softness. Outside, Edo wakes beneath snow and discipline. Inside, you begin to understand the system you have entered. A wife is duty. A daughter is disappointment. A son is redemption. You are 18, a mother, and already the house waits for you to try again. Snow melts slowly in Edo, turning streets into mud and reflection. Winter does not leave in a rush. It retreats like something ashamed of how long it stayed. You are 19 when you understand that your daughter's presence has not secured your position. It has only delayed your uncertainty. She grows quietly. Too quietly, some say. She does not cry often, does not demand much. The older women call it good temperament, but you recognize something else in it. Adaptation. Learning too early how to take up less space than the world expects. You watch her sleep and feel the weight of a question you're not allowed to ask aloud. What happens to girls who learn silence too well? Your husband visits less now. When he does, it is procedural, efficient, like a duty completed between larger duties. You have learned not to read emotion into it. Emotion is not part of the contract. The house has changed in ways no one announces. Change here is never declared. It accumulates. New servants arrive younger than before. Old ones disappear without explanation. The garden is trimmed more sharply. Even the air feels more controlled, as if someone has decided excess softness is a flaw that must be corrected. You are 20 when your body is observed again, not with affection, with assessment. You're asked if you're well. You're asked if you're weak. You're given teas. You're given instructions. You're given silence disguised as care. Your daughter is taken more often into the inner rooms of the house, taught how to bow properly, how to sit properly, how to be seen without being noticed. She learns faster than you did. Sometimes you catch her watching you, not with curiosity, with study. It unsettles you in a way you cannot explain. One evening, your husband's mother speaks to you without ceremony. She will be useful, she says. The sentence lands gently, like paper falling, but it cuts deeper than shouting ever could. You understand what she means. Usefulness is the only inheritance allowed here. Years do not feel like passage anymore. They feel like repetition. The same meals, the same bows, the same corridors, the same seasonal rituals dressed as change. You are 23 when your daughter begins to resemble the household more than she resembles you. Her posture is perfect, her speech measured, her emotions contained behind a calm surface that older women approve of. She's praised often now. Praise in this house is never simple. It is directional, always pointing away from someone else, away from you. You notice it first in small ways. How conversations pause when you enter. How explanations shorten. How decisions are made before your opinion is even indirectly requested. You're still inside the house, but no longer inside its future. Your husband's visits cease to matter at all, not because they stop, but because they no longer change anything. You realize this with a strange clarity that arrives without emotion. Just fact. You're not being replaced in a moment. You're being replaced in layers. Slow, civilized, unavoidable. At 26, your body begins to lose its attention. Not abruptly, not dramatically, Just quietly, like a candle burning lower in a room no one notices anymore. The herbal teas continue, but their purpose changes. Support becomes maintenance. Maintenance becomes precaution. Precaution becomes containment. You understand, without being told, that you are now something to be managed. Your daughter is 14 when she bows to you in public less deeply than she used to. The first time it happens, no one reacts. That is how you know it is already accepted. Your name is spoken less. Then only when necessary. Then only in reference to your past usefulness. You become a memory still occupying space. A chair no one sits in anymore, but no one removes. Your husband speaks to your daughter more often now than to you. Not affectionately, not cruelly, structurally, as if continuing a conversation that was always meant for her generation. You watch this from a distance that exists even when you are in the same room. You are 30 when your presence is no longer required at certain gatherings. At first, it is framed gently. You should rest. You have done much. You have earned quiet. But quiet is not a gift here. Quiet is relocation. Your daughter stands taller than you now. Not in height alone. In position. In certainty. She understands rooms the way you once learned them. Faster. Cleaner. Without hesitation. Sometimes when she passes you in the corridor, you feel the faintest pause in her gaze. Not pity. Recognition of a pattern she is now continuing. You are 40 when your body begins to feel like something stored rather than lived in. Movement takes effort. Speech feels unnecessary. Even thoughts slow, as if the house itself has begun to think for you. You sit near the window more often, watching the garden change without your involvement. The same stones, the same clipped trees, the same controlled beauty that once trained you into obedience. Now it feels like repetition without purpose. Your husband is older, slower, still respected, still positioned, still part of the architecture, but you're no longer part of the structure that gives that respect meaning. You're simply inside it, like dust and polished wood. At 50, you understand something you were never told. A samurai household does not discard people. It absorbs them, then stops noticing they were ever distinct. Your daughter visits you rarely. When she does, she is polite, distant, perfectly composed. She speaks to you as one speaks to an elder object, something respected, but no longer alive in the way relevance defines life. You bless her silently each time she leaves. Not because you are kind, because you remember what survival demanded. One winter morning, you do not rise. There is no dramatic moment. No final confession. No gathered family. Only the soft weight of a body that no longer responds correctly to command. The room is quiet, as it always is. Snow outside continues falling without interest. Someone notices later. Steps pause outside your door. A voice calls your name. Then another. Then silence returns, reorganized around absence. There is no ceremony for women like you. Not truly. Only adjustments. The household shifts slightly, as if a chair has been moved away from the table, and everyone unconsciously makes space for it. Your daughter hears of it later. She bows once. Properly. Correctly. The way she was taught. No tears are required. None are expected. The system does not reward interruption. Years pass. Then decades. Then centuries. Edo becomes Tokyo. Wooden streets become iron and stone. Swords vanish into museums. Houses like yours are replaced, rebuilt, redefined. The samurai become history, then become myth, then become lessons in textbooks about order, discipline, and peace. Scholars speak of structure, of governance, of stability. They describe the system as elegant, efficient, necessary. They do not speak your name. Not once. There is no record of your hands pouring tea in silence. No note of your knees learning pain. No mention of your daughter watching you slowly become unnecessary inside the only world you were ever allowed to belong to. Your existence dissolves into the architecture of praise. And the house where you once knelt becomes an idea that outlives you cleanly, quietly, without remembering that silence was once a requirement paid for in human breath.